Hi, this is Mrs. Oakley, and today we're going to look at Unit 2, Lesson 5, and the rules of divisibility. So, what it means to be divisible by means that you can take that number and you can divide it by another number equally, which means there's no remainders left over. All right, let's get started. Okay, we're going to start with the divisibility rule for the number 2. A number is divisible by 2 if it is an even number. Now, in case you've forgotten, even numbers end in 2, 4, 6, 8, or a 0. If you see that in the ones position of any number, then you can divide it by 2 equally. Here's an example 24. I see that it has a 4 in the ones position, so I know that I can divide it by 2. Okay, let's look at the divisibility 3 rule. A number is divisible by 3 if the sum of the digits is divisible by 3. Well, back in our other lessons, we learned that sum means the answer to an addition problem. So if I take a number and I add all the numbers that make up that number, here's an example. I have the number 36. So I'm going to take 3 and I'm going to add it to the 6, and that's going to be 9. Well, I know that 3 times 9 or 3 times 3 is 9. So 9 is divisible by 3. All right, let's look at the divisibility 4 rule. A number is divisible by 4 if the last two digits make a number divisible by 4. Now, notice it didn't say the word sum. We're not adding anything. Here's what we're doing. Look at this number 324. Let me go back. 324. I'm going to take the last two numbers away from that number. See how I took 24 out? 24 is divisible by 4 because if I go 4 times 6, I get 24. Good job. Okay, the divisibility 5 rule. I think this by far is one of my easiest ones. A number is divisible by 5 if it ends in a 5 or a 0. So any number like 35 or 50 or 75, all those are divisible by 5. Here's an example 25. We know 5 times 5 is 25. Okay, the divisibility rule for number 6. A number is divisible by 6 if the number is divisible by 2 and 3. So if I can divide that number by 2 equally, and I can divide that number by 3 equally, I can also divide it by 6. Well, why is this? Well, 2 times 3 equals 6. So if I can use these two numbers to divide it equally, and it makes this number, then I can use that. Here's an example. 24 divided by 2 is 12. 24 divided by 3 is 8. And 24 divided by 6 is 4. Great job. Okay, the divisibility 9 rule. A number is divisible by 9 if the sum of the digits is divisible by 9. Okay, so the sum here, remember that sum means add. Okay, so this one we're adding all the numbers just like we did with 3. 3 plus 4 is 7, plus 2 is 9. Well, I can divide 9 by 9 equally. It's going to equal 1. All right, our last one, divisibility 10 rule. This is another easy one. A number is divisible by 10 if it ends in a 0. So 50, 60, 70, 80, any of those, because they end in a 0, I can divide it by 10. Okay, you ready to practice? Okay, so let's look at 545. Okay, does it end in an even number? So remember, for it to be divisible by 2, it has to be 2, 4, 6, 8, or 0. Not the case. 3 tells me to add them. So 5 plus 4 is 9, plus 5 is 14. 14 isn't divisible by 3, so 3 doesn't work. Okay, so then it says to take the last two for the 4. Does 45 divisible by 4? I know 4 times 11 is 44, but that doesn't get me 45, so no. Now remember, for it to be divisible by 5, it has to end in a 0 or a 5. It does, so 5 is a divisibility rule. Okay, let's look at 6. Remember, 6 says If 2 and 3 worked, then 6 will work. Well, 2 and 3 didn't work, so 6 is not going to work. Now, if I add these numbers up for 9, 5 plus 4 plus 5, I got 14. 14 isn't divisible by 9, so that doesn't work. And it doesn't end in a 0, so 10 doesn't work. Okay, let's look at 38. Ends in an even number, right? 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, so 2 works. Now, if I add those two up, I get 8 plus 3 is 11. 11 is not divisible by 3. If I do 38, I know 4 times 9 is 36, so that one doesn't work. It doesn't end in a 0 or a 5, so 5 doesn't work. Now, notice for 6, 2 worked, but did 3? Nope. So I guess it has to be both of them. It can't be just one. So that doesn't work. How about 9? Well, again, 3 plus 8 is 11. 11 divided by 9 is not an equal number, so that doesn't work. And it doesn't end in a 0, so 10 didn't work. Okay, here we go. Divisible by 2. Yep, because it ends in 2. If I add them, I get 3 plus 4 is 7, plus 2 is 9, so 3 will work. If I look at 42, 4 won't work. Doesn't end in a 0 or a 5, so 5 doesn't work. But notice 2 and 3 work, so 6 will work. Okay, 3 plus 4 plus 2 equals 9, so 9 will work. Doesn't end in a 0, so 10 does not. All right, the next one, 46, ends in a 0, so 2 is going to work, right? Let's add them up. 4 plus 6 is 10 plus 0. Nope, 3 does not work. 60, does 60 go in there? Yes, it does. Because if I do 4 times 15, I get 60. It ends in a 0, so 5 works. Can't be 6 because I didn't do 2 and 3, so 6 doesn't work. It equals 10, so 9 doesn't work. Ends in a 0, so 10 works. Great job. Okay, now this is your turn to try. Go ahead and pause this video, work it out on your own, and then come back and see if you got these right. Okay, so what numbers did you say 315 was divisible by? Did you say 2? No, 2 is not. 3 is because 5 plus 1 is 8, or 6, plus 3 is 9. 15 is not divisible, ends in a 5. It didn't have 2 or 3, so 6 didn't work, right? We said 9 will work, but doesn't end in a 0, so that doesn't. All right, looking at this one, ends in a 0, so 2 should work. 9 plus 0 is 9, so 3 should work. 90, well, if I go in there, 4 is not going to work. Ends in a 0, so 5 works. 2 and 3 works, so 6 will work. 9 works, and 10 works. Good job. Let's look at the next one. Ends in a 2. If I go 7 plus 3 plus 2, I get 12, so 3 should work. 32 divided by 4 is 8. Doesn't end in a 0 or 5, so that doesn't work. 2 and 3 worked. Okay, so if I get 10, 11, 12 divided by 9, that won't work. And it doesn't end in a 0, so 10 doesn't work. Okay, last one. Ends in a 6, so that works. Let's see. 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 6 is 13. 3 will not work. 36 divided by 4 is 9, so that works. Doesn't end in a 0 or a 5, so that didn't work. 3 didn't work, so 6 won't work. C. 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 6 is 13, so 9 won't work. And doesn't end in a 0, so 10 doesn't work. Great job. All right, it is now time for you to go and do Unit 2, Lesson 5 practice. I'll see you for the next video.